Estimate Master for the iPad 4.0, we have a new feature called Calculation Templates. This serves a couple different purposes. One, this cuts down on labor needed to create estimates. And two, allows you to do some calculations at the time you create estimates right in Estimate Master, whereas before you might have done it with a hand calculator. So I'll start by showing you some templates that I've already created and how they're used. Simple ones to more complicated ones. Here's something called each. That's an item that, by each I mean there's no other input other than quantity. So let's click on each. And this is called a quantity only template, so I'm just going to put a quantity in. And I click on add to estimate. It goes into the estimate. You notice in the right column, right-hand column on the big grid, under add, it says there's either an asterisk or a right arrow. If there's an asterisk beside that means there's a template that will execute when you click on the asterisk. If it's just an arrow, there's no template assigned. Works the way it always did in Estimate Master. So let's find another. Well, let's look at that one we just did. Okay, we just created a each. That means a single unit, no length, no other values other than quantity. No need to do editing on the estimate tab. It's already in there. Actually, that saves time. Here's a couple items by length, by foot, and by inch. So I've got a length template that I assigned to both. The same template assigned to two different items. There's no limit to how many different items you can assign one template to. So let's execute per inch. So you put a length of whatever you think, 72 inches, like 72 inches. Put a quantity of 24. This arbitrary numbers, but and you add to an estimate. And here's again the same template, but different material item. This is feet. Again, we put in feet. Let's say it's 8 feet long. Quantity of 32, let's say. Add to estimate. There's what we just did, those two items per foot and per inch. So we've got the same material item, both are connected to the same, just a single template. Let's take something more complicated. Okay, let's say per square inch. Now to make the square inch and similar items work, there's a new unit type called add each with units. So if I click on square inch, I can see that it's a square inch item is actually each with units. There's also a cubic yard. That's also each with units. It doesn't matter what the units are, whether they're metric or English. It matters not at all. I think in the template for, or the video tutorial for the parts, we can explain that better maybe. So let's see what else we've got here. Cubic yard. Okay, here's a cubic yard item I've already got on my list of materials with the template assigned. I've got a cubic yard template, so let's click on that. So here we have three inputs that are going to be multiplied together. Let's say we have a 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot cube. Well, if we have 3 by 3 foot cube, that's a cubic yard. And we divide that by 27, that's exactly 1 cubic yard. And we put that in the estimate. That's what we just did, cubic yard. So we have 5 cubic yards. Now if we wanted labor included with that item, we create a assembly. Let me show you what the assembly looks like. Here's the assembly, square inches and labor. So, and I've already assigned the per square inch template to this assembly. So let's tap on the asterisk under the assembly grid. So let's say it's 4x6 postcard size and 1,000. Let's take a look at our estimate. Okay, now we have two items that came out of that assembly. A labor item, 1,000. This is probably a ridiculous number, but it's just arbitrary. That's $22 per sheet. Total hours of 68 hours. And there's a material item. They're probably ridiculous numbers, but they're just examples. Now, let's say we've got some templates created. Let me show you how to create a template first. Open up the template screen with clicking the calculation template button. Click the plus button. Give the template a name on top here so we can identify it. And then we decide how many inputs we want to use. It could be 1, 2, or 3 here. I'm using all 3. And in the boxes here, we want to use labels, whatever is appropriate label for that input. So you can use, if you wanted just 2 inputs, I would say not on the third one. And just give, like square inches, we would put in height or width, whatever you want. And then if you want to apply another factor to the result of whatever you're multiplying or doing on top, and these operators can be divide, multiply, add or subtract, combine them any way you want, any 1, 2, or 3 or 0 inputs actually. And this final calculation can be equal sign, which we don't do any calculation, or if it says like in the cubic yards, we put in a factor of a constant of 27. And then we get the end result is, if we're doing cubic yards, we put a label in of cubic yards. There, click done. And that, each of the labels we assigned now appear above the quantity. So at this point, the template is created, and we need to assign it. So the way I like to assign it is to find the item you want to assign to, click on it like so, and click on calculation templates, and then tap the assign to. If it's a part material item, you leave it that way, or if it's an assembly you're assigning it to, you pull down the assembly like so. Then you click assign to, and then you confirm it. Now it's assigned. If you want to assign to it a assembly, you click on the assembly and pull down assembly like so, and then assign it to that assembly. That's how you assign items. Execute, we've already covered. You just click on the asterisk for the item you want, and then it executes it, gives you a screen. You do the input very quickly and easily, and it automatically goes into the estimate. You want to unassign something, you click on the asterisk again, and just click on assign. Confirm it. That's pretty much it.